In this video, we will examine the aims and objectives of a curriculum at the subject level. Let's take a look at the early childhood curriculum. Early childhood education refers to educational programs that may be designed specifically for children at each individual age and can be provided in settings including childcare, daycare, nursery, preschool, and kindergarten. In the context of our study of curriculum design, we are using the term aims to describe the larger purpose of the program, whereas objectives are more explicitly written. Although different programs may use different terms to label their educational goals and objectives, we need to be mindful of the difference between the two in order to correctly identify them. The first curriculum we are going to examine is the kindergarten program from the Ontario curriculum. In this program, learning is divided into 4 frames or broad areas instead of subjects. The 4 frames are belonging and contributing, self-regulation and well-being, demonstrating literacy and mathematics behaviors, and problem-solving and innovating. The frames reflect the integrated way in which learning occurs during children's play and inquiry in kindergarten. For the purpose of our study of early childhood education at the subject level, let's take a look at one of the frames in this curriculum, self-regulation and well-being. The aim of the self-regulation and well-being learning frame is described here. What do you think are the learning domains embedded in these aims? Pause the video and try to identify the keywords that suggest the domain or domains of learning involved. Well, as the name suggests, you would expect that the most dominant learning domain is the affective domain. Besides the affective domain, this learning frame also emphasizes on students' thinking, which belongs in the cognitive domain, and physical health, which belongs in the psychomotor domain. In total, there are 31 overall expectations associated with one or more learning frames in this program. 8 of them are assessed within the self-regulation and well-being learning frame. These expectations are statements of what students should be able to achieve in the program. Hence, they are the learning objectives for the particular learning frame. Pause the video and try to identify the learning domains embedded within the objectives listed here. Highlighted here are the key phrases that suggest the domain of learning they are associated with. The domains identified here are the affective domain, psychomotor domain, and skills domain. Highlighted here are the key phrases that suggest the domain of learning they are associated with. The domains identified here are the affective domain, psychomotor domain, and skills domain. Let's have a look at another example of an early childhood curriculum. We are going to examine the preschool standard-based curriculum in Malaysia. In the national preschool standard-based curriculum, learning is divided into 6 learning strands instead of subjects. The 6 learning strands are communication, spirituality, attitudes and values, humanity, personal competence, physical development and aesthetics, and science and technology. These 6 learning strands are the main domains that complement one another and integrated with critical, creative, and innovative thinking. The integration aims to develop human capital that appreciates moral values based on religion, knowledge, competence, creative and critical thinking, and innovation as illustrated in the diagram. For our study of curriculum design at a subject level, let's choose one of the 6 strands we saw earlier. Let's go with the early science component within the science and technology strand. The science and technology strand emphasizes scientific knowledge, skills, and attitudes as well as mathematical knowledge and skills. This strand comprises of early science and early mathematics. The statement on early science states that it emphasizes on the formation of attitudes and mastery of science process skills through investigation of living world, material world, and physical world. What do you think are the learning domains included here? In the Science and Technology strand, the significant domains are cognitive, affective, and skills. You might wonder why I categorize science process skills under the cognitive domain instead of the skills domain. Science process skills, such as observing, inferring, predicting, asking questions, constructing hypotheses, designing experiments, applying concepts, and communicating, are important to support the learning of science. Skills domain refers to the abilities related to how people work, such as interpersonal skills and communication. In this context, since the primary focus is the acquisition of scientific knowledge, I've placed them under the cognitive domain. Next, let's have a look at the learning objectives in early science. Early science emphasizes on the formation of attitudes and mastery of science process skills through investigation of living world, material world, and physical world. Considering its emphasis, what do you think are the learning domains included here? Pause the video and read through these objectives to find the keywords that correspond to the relevant domains. Learning objectives 1 and 3 relate to the affective domain as they relate to personal attitudes and values. Learning objective 2 relates to scientific skills and creative and critical thinking, which are the aptitudes required for the acquisition of scientific knowledge. Hence, it is classified under the cognitive domain. And finally, learning objective 4 relates to communication and problem solving, which I have put them under the soft skills domain. Learning domains are not always mutually exclusive, so it is also logical if a statement of aim or objective involves more than one domain of learning. Consider the three major domains of learning: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor as intersecting areas of learning. The skills domain is placed at the center as it relates to learning in all of the other areas. Let's take communication skill as an example of a skill. In the context of mathematics, to communicate effectively, one requires good mathematical knowledge and the ability to convey the information to the desired audience. Hence, it's an interplay between the cognitive and skills domains. Hope you find this useful. For more examples, check out the other videos in my channel. Thank you.